Hello, it's Ryan. I'm a little peeved because I just recorded this video and I was trying out a new program and the recording is apparently nowhere to be seen. So I need to redo it. But it's important and so I'm gonna try to recapture it. So this video is an update on some of the stuff going on with my daughter. And there's been kind of a crappy couple weeks going on. It's been pretty emotional and difficult, and you know, I've mentioned it a little bit before, but these videos that I make, I don't truly understand why this makes such a difference for me as opposed to talking to a friend or writing things down or just processing things mentally. But for some reason, when I take the time to record a video, talk it out, post it, share it, it helps. It helps me to stop spinning these thoughts around in my head. So I'm gonna do it. And I know some people who listen care, so I guess an update will be good. I mean, I'll just get right out with it. My daughter at the moment is in a residential behavioral health treatment center. And this is something that is a bit of a surprise for me even. I really thought things were going okay, that she was doing better, that she was doing okay. And some stuff happened. It was a couple weekends ago on the weekend, and there was a pretty big incident. I did promise her that I would keep the details of what happened private. And as I've given in some disclaimers in the past, these videos are about me and my perspective and what's going on with me related to this as her parent and as my own, emotional portions of things. So I'm not going to give details on the specifics of what happened, but I will say that there was some big risk-taking behavior, something pretty stupid, and it was definitely a surprise that came out of nowhere. But basically that happening triggered a chain of events over the course of the next few days. It just like bubbled up everything to the forefront. And that week after was really rough. Hearing everything that she had to say during that week was rough. After the first couple days, as things were coming out, she kind of said to me, "Mom, I want to try to get help. I want to, maybe go somewhere and get some serious help." And I was happy to hear it because she's been through therapy a number of times, and while she's always gone to the appointments and done stuff, she always kinds of talks about things during the appointments, but never necessarily the most important things. So she didn't ever actively take a role in I need to work on healing myself from these traumas that happened to me in the past. So it was a huge step with her coming forward and saying that she needs some help. But this last week, I mean, she and I talked a lot as the week went on, and hearing some of the things that she's thinking and dealing with and has been dealing with for a long time, I mean, God, they were heartbreaking and so difficult as a mother to hear and so painful. But again, I'm not going to give the details because of privacy for her, but I'm sure you can imagine some of it. And the big thing that I just want to say about it is when these abuses happen to a child or a person and the family, the ramifications of what's happened, they're not over when it's reported. They're not over when the person is arrested. They're not over when the person is convicted. They're not over when the person is sentenced. They're just never over. And you know, I've done a lot of work and a lot of trying over the years to process and not let these things control my life, and to, you know, this happened, but this doesn't have to control my everyday. I can deal and not let it take over, and I've gotten pretty good at it, but man, it's not easy sometimes, especially when everything is like re-triggered and re-brought up. I mean, it was a tough week. It was a really tough week, and then it was a tough week afterwards. So I guess I'll go back to just the process of what happened. Some of the stuff with the risky behavior were also very triggering with some of her previous trauma, so that made things worse. But I took her in for an evaluation at a semi-local hospital for mental and behavioral health. And we spent a good half a day there going through this assessment process. And at the end of everything, they said they recommended voluntary inpatient care for, 5 to 7 days, followed by a residential treatment facility. Only in the next sentence to tell us, but we don't have any beds here, and we don't have any openings in any of our programs whatsoever, not even outpatient, nothing. So essentially that whole day was a waste. We were told we had two options. We could either admit her to the emergency room at the main hospital, in which they would hold her in the emergency room until a bed was available there, or more likely somewhere else. And that could be any hospital, basically anywhere in Illinois. I mean, it could be far. It might not be the best place. Or I could take her home and look into options for myself. I didn't like the idea of her just ending up anywhere, especially after reading some of the reviews on some of the local places that she could have ended up at, because I was like, if we're going to do this, I want her to get good care and the best care that I could find. So I took her home and I got to work, and I found a place that was kind of my first choice. And there's a really big process with getting her in there. But we were, she was, approved to get in. Had to jump through a bunch of hoops. There was a lot of different assessments. We had to get her a COVID test, which I won't get too much into it, but goddamn was that difficult. There's like so many rules about how to get a COVID test and who can get a COVID test and what you have to get a COVID test. And she wasn't sick, so there wasn't, a doctor's order to get it. So it was very complicated. I could bitch for a while, but I won't. But finally I got it done, and she had the negative COVID test. And then the place told me they couldn't get her in until the end of November, which was several weeks away. And I was just kind of crushed, because I knew she needed help now. And that speedy intervention was important. So I told them, okay, save that spot for us, but I'm going to look somewhere else. So I went to the second choice, and I did find an opening, and I started that process there and went through. And then I got a call back from the original place saying that a bed was opening up on Sunday of last week. And I said, yes, we'd like it. I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about the financial aspect of it, but I could rant a lot about the system and costs. And I mean, it's going to financially be such a huge strain on me for the next year. But I know I need to do it, and I know it's important. But god damn, is it crazy. I mean, I'm self-employed, so I pay a lot out of pocket for good insurance. And this, I mean, I'm going to be spending like a third of my monthly income on healthcare and the bill for this. And I don't know. It's one of those, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I got to do it. So that's where I'm at. And I'm trying not to even focus on that piece as much right now, because it's important. and I need to do it. But we got her into this place, and I dropped her off on Sunday, and it was very, very hard, but at the same time, I felt good about the situation, especially with, her wanting to go, her saying, I'm going to commit to my healing. I'm going to talk. I'm going to really dive into this and give it my all. And that felt good. So as hard as it was, we did that. And then with her gone, there was a lot of, I had been like trying so hard to hold it together that previous week with some really, really, really difficult and heartbreaking situations. I mean, one of the main takeaways from all of this is like, when someone abuses a child and when someone does these terrible things to somebody, God, it's just never over. There's so many complicated and widespread ramifications for this, from the person it happened to the family, to the mental aspects, to the legal aspects, and I realize she's going to be dealing with this probably for the rest of her life, at least in some aspect. It's not just going to go away. But let me just take one moment here. All right, so got back to the house and she was gone, and then things like really set in, and in particular one night was really difficult. My boyfriend and his daughter were here, and this is in no way directed towards them or her, but there was this moment where his daughter was playing with me, talking to me, and trying to get hugs and cuddles and tickles and just goofiness, and how little kids are. And there was just this moment where she was just happy and free and innocent and laughing and asking for attention and just so present. And I found myself so overtaken with this weird mix of sadness and resentment and anger. And this wasn't at her, and this wasn't at her parents, and this wasn't at anything else. And, this is a kid I've known for a long time, and I love her to death. And there was something about just like seeing her face, and just this free and happy, and I was just completely overwhelmed with this anger and resentment. This anger that my daughter and me had that stolen from us, that I spent every moment of my life since I was pregnant with her trying to give her a good life and trying to protect her and trying so hard to avoid any major things. I want to give you a childhood to recover from. And it was stolen from her. And I'm so angry about it. And I was thinking about like how hard it is to just grow up generally, and how there's so many things to deal with, and it can be hard, and I can't even imagine what growing up has been for her. And I wish, like anything else, I don't even know what the right word is, but that I could take that away from her, that I could give her the opportunity to grow up the way that she deserved, which was without this pain and without this trauma and without this guilt and without all the abuses that were done to her. Because God fucking damn it, does it make me angry and sad And I'm just, God, I'm just pissed. And I know I shouldn't, you know, I've been doing all this work on myself too, and I know it's not worthwhile to just sit here and be angry and be pissed, and because I can't change the past, and I don't want to let what other people have done to control my present and my future. Ugh, the cat just flew back there, but I'm just so mad. And, you know, I think about my own childhood where I didn't deal with this kind of trauma, but there were my own just things that happened in my childhood and early adolescence. And that when I was going through brain spotting therapy myself, I realized there were like all these pieces of trauma and unprocessed issues from my past that, even though I didn't realize how big they were, like they really were, like they kept coming up and they continue to, and they weren't clear. And when I think about all the stuff she told me and all the things she's been through and how confusing and scary and alone that she's been feeling. And, you know, she has this thing kind of like me. We talked about this a bit where she always wants to, like, protect other people. And that includes myself. She doesn't want me to be sad. She doesn't want me to be upset. So she hides this stuff even from me. And it's just so unfair that she has to deal with this. And the fear I have of something happening to her because of just the mental abuses in addition to the physical abuses, and how that affects her now, and how it affects her will to live and heal and get better, as well as how that's going to affect things in the future. I'm just so freaking angry and so freaking sad. And again, I don't resent anything with like the thing that brought this up, but man, that whole night, I was just like stuck in this sadness and frustration about everything. And I don't know. You know, and there were a lot of people who I kind of gave like a general, hey, there's some stuff going on. Allie's going to be going into treatment. I don't really want to talk about the specifics right now. I'm just dealing with this and I need some space. And some people got pissed, and I'm sure some people, even if they didn't say they got pissed, they were kind of like, oh, I wish you talked to me, or what's going on, because I know they care. But like, even giving the disclaimer of, it's just so draining for me to talk about it over and over again, especially in that first week when things are really up there. I just had to draw a line and say, I can't do this right now. But, you know, if you're one of those people who reached out and if you felt shunned or ignored in any way, please don't take it personally. Know that this is me, who unfortunately has a long history of dealing with really shitty situations. That the best way for me to get through it is when things are just on fire with madness, I need to take some space and conserve my energy, because it was rough. It was rough getting through work. I was constantly emotional. I was constantly dealing with the logistics. I was constantly dealing with the situation at hand, and I just didn't have any other energy to spend. And as an introvert, it drains me more having to talk about with other people. I don't recharge from talking and getting support from others. It's something that comes later. So that's me making this video. And I think after today, I'll be a little better to talk about it. But that's where we're at. And I don't have this fantasy that when she gets out, that everything's going to be perfect. I know that's not the case. I just hope that this intensive kind of intervention, immediate care, and just being able to break away from everything else and just focus on healing and therapy and everything for a while, it's going to help her and put her in a better place. And then, of course, we'll get aftercare from there and deal with different things. But that is what's going on, and I really felt it warranted a update, especially for anyone who's been following our story or anything like that. So she's gone, and she's going to be gone anywhere from a few weeks to likely about a month, or even up to like 45 days, depending on how things are going. It sucks. but I just hope it helps her. And I don't even really know what else to say, because it's not really resolved. This just is what it is. It's hard, but I'm, I'm working it and trying not to let it control me, and to try to find happiness amongst the chaos and the negative feelings. So that is the update, and yeah, thanks for listening. I'll try to update some more. It did help to talk about it. I really wish the first video would have gotten saved, because I felt like it was that initial processing, and it was a lot more, guttural. I don't know, but the point that I talked about it was good, and now I've done it twice, so hey, maybe I got some bonus trauma processing here, because all this is really bubbled up everything else again. But, I think it's important to talk about this kind of stuff and not be like in shame about what's going on, and just, this is, no matter how much I did to try to do the right thing when everything happened, to get her help, to give her support, to believe her, to love her, and all this stuff, like, the stuff these people have done, the ramifications and the damage they have caused is so huge. I am really angry. I'm so angry and so sad for her, and I wish I could do more, but sometimes with this kind of stuff, I could do all that I can, but she needs to be the one to do some work on healing. But yeah, I'm rambling a bit, so I think that's about it. But so that's where I'm at right now. I thought things were doing better. Everything has come to a head. Things are rough, but I'm dealing and trying not to let it take over my life. And as always, it's work and it's a process, just like it is going to be for her. So I'll keep you posted, and I hope things go well when she gets out and we can continue down that path to healing, both her and myself. Bye.